Okay, so let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a really big topic today, something that's super relevant for anyone trying to raise kids in this modern, kind of image-obsessed world we live in. And that's this. How do you teach them the huge difference between looking rich and actually being wealthy?
I mean, it's a real challenge, isn't it? Kids are just constantly bombarded with these images of what success looks like. You know, the expensive cars, the latest phones, all the designer stuff. So the big question is, how do we help them see past all that noise? How do we teach them what's real?
Well, the answer really boils down to this one core idea. There's a world of difference between looking rich and actually being wealthy. They are not the same thing. And if we can help our kids understand that, we're giving them a tool for life. So first up, we need to talk about what I call the wealth illusion. This is the trap that so many of us fall into. Not just kids. It's this idea that what you see on the outside is the whole story. And this slide just nails the comparison. On one side, you've got the illusion, right? The famous celebrity with a massive income, spending a ton of money. It looks incredible. But how many times have we seen that story end in bankruptcy? Then you have the other side, the reality. The person who is invisibly wealthy. They're not focused on spending. They're all about steady saving and investing. And that is what builds real long-term security. So that brings us to the key definition here, invisible wealth. See, true wealth isn't the stuff you buy. It's the assets you own, the stuff that works for you. It's that investment portfolio that no one ever sees, just quietly growing in the background year after year. Our job is to make that idea visible to our kids. So how do we actually do that? How do we make this invisible concept real for them? Well, let's get practical. Here's a toolkit with 4 really powerful strategies you can start using right away. All right, here's the game plan. We're going to walk through these 4 steps. First, modeling the right behavior yourself. Second, actually discussing the mechanics of how wealth works. Third, and this is a big one, reframing what you praise. And finally, using stories to make it all stick. Okay, number 1, and this might be the most important, you have to model the behavior. Kids learn so much more from what you do than what you say. So if you drive a perfectly good older car, but then you talk openly about how your investments are growing, you are literally showing them what invisible wealth looks like in action. You're proving that your family cares more about long-term growth than short-term status. Now, modeling it is a huge first step, but to really make it click, you also have to explain the why behind your choices. You got to talk about the nuts and bolts of how money actually grows. And honestly, the most powerful concept you can teach here is opportunity cost. It sounds a little academic, but it's super simple. It just means that every time you spend money, you're not just losing that money, you're also losing what that money could have become if you'd invested it instead. And this example makes it so clear. Let's say you have 5 lakh rupees. You could spend it on a car. Awesome, you have a car. But in 10 years, its value is pretty much gone. Or you could invest that same 5 lakhs, thanks to the power of compounding. In 10 years, that could easily be worth 20 lakhs. It's the same amount of money today, but 2 totally different futures. That right there, that is the opportunity cost. It's the 15 lakhs in future growth that you gave up to have that car today. That is the invisible price tag you need to make visible. So the big takeaway here is to just talk about it. Make these conversations normal. Use real-life examples that they can understand. You can even pull out a calculator and show them the absolute magic of compound interest. When talking about money growing becomes a regular thing, it stops being scary and starts getting pretty cool. And that leads us to our third strategy, which is all about shifting your mindset. And it's huge. What do we celebrate in our family? Do we get all excited when our kid gets the newest phone? Or do we get excited about the hard work they did to save up for it, or the hustle they showed to earn that money? The things you praise are the things they'll value.
All right, and this all comes together perfectly in our 4th and final strategy, harnessing the power of a good story.
Look, we're all wired for stories. They just stick with us. So bring it back to that first example we talked about. Remind them of the 2 paths in life. There's the flashy path of the film star that often leads to a dead end. And then there's the quieter, more patient path of the investor, which leads to real, lasting freedom. Then you just ask them, which story do you want to be a part of? And this is why this is all so important. Because when you zoom out, you realize you're not just teaching them about finance. You're teaching them about life. You're building their character. At the end of the day, all these financial lessons, they're really just a vehicle for teaching much deeper, more fundamental skills that are going to serve them their entire lives.
I mean, just think about what you're really teaching them. You're teaching delayed gratification in a world that's all about I want it now. You're teaching them how to plan for the long term. You're teaching them that substance is way more important than style. And maybe most importantly, you're teaching them what true financial resilience looks like.
So if you're going to take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The whole philosophy can really be boiled down to one simple daily action.
It's this simple. Praise the effort, not the object. Praise the discipline, not the purchase. Praise them for saving. Praise them for earning. Just don't praise them for simply having stuff. That tiny shift can change their entire future.
And that kind of leaves us with one last question to think about. What story is your family's wealth going to tell? Is it going to be a story about stuff that looks good today but fades away? Or is it going to be a story of invisible growth, building a legacy of real strength and security for generations to come? The choice is ours to teach.